In the annals of Islamic history, the tale of Abd al-Rahman ibn Muawiyah, the Falcon of Quraysh, begins with a legacy rich in power and prestige. Born into the eminent Umayyad family, Abd al-Rahman's early life was steeped in the grandeur of the Umayyad Caliphate, the most powerful Islamic empire of its time. Raised in Damascus, the heart of the Umayyad Caliphate, Abd al-Rahman was nurtured amidst the opulence and splendor of a ruling dynasty. His lineage traced back to the notable Umayyad Caliph, Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, may Allah be pleased with him, under whose reign the caliphate reached its zenith. This heritage instilled in him not only a sense of pride, but also a profound awareness of his familial responsibilities. Growing up, Abd al-Rahman was surrounded by the intricate workings of statecraft and governance. The palatial halls of Damascus were filled with diplomats, scholars, and warriors, each playing a role in the tapestry of Umayyad politics. From a young age, he was exposed to the art of diplomacy and the nuances of political strategy, learning from the successes and failures of his ancestors. Despite the luxury and security of his upbringing, Abd al-Rahman's childhood was shadowed by the turbulent politics of the Islamic world. The Umayyad Caliphate, though expansive and powerful, faced internal strife and external challenges. These elements of discord and the ever-present political intrigues within the court served as a constant reminder to Abd al-Rahman of the fragility of power. The education he received was befitting a prince of his stature. Scholars of the highest order were entrusted with his learning, imparting knowledge in religion, literature, and military tactics. As a scion of the Umayyad family, he was also trained in horsemanship, archery, and swordsmanship, skills deemed essential for leadership. This period of his life was not only about nurturing a future leader, but also about instilling the values of the Umayyad dynasty. He was taught to uphold the honor of his family, to be steadfast in the face of adversity, and to govern with wisdom and justice. These teachings would later become the guiding principles of his rule. However, the serenity of his early years was not to last. The Umayyad Caliphate, once unassailable, began to crumble under the weight of its own expansion and internal dissent. The rise of the Abbasid revolution marked the beginning of the end for the Umayyad dynasty, a change that would drastically alter the course of Abd al-Rahman's life. In this crucible of early experiences, the young Abd al-Rahman ibn Muawiyah was forged into a figure of resilience and ambition. Little did he know that his future would take him far from the comforts of Damascus, leading him to a land where his leadership and resolve would be tested to their limits. The early chapters of his life set the stage for a journey that would transform him into a legendary figure in Islamic history. In the heart of the Islamic world, the once mighty Umayyad Caliphate, a dynasty that had reigned supreme for nearly a century, was teetering on the brink of collapse. The young Abd al-Rahman ibn Muawiyah, a scion of this prestigious lineage, witnessed firsthand the dramatic unraveling of his family's empire. The Umayyads, under mounting pressure, grappled with internal strife and external threats. The most perilous of these threats came from the Abbasids, a rival clan who masterfully garnered support under the banner of religious and political reform. Their rallying cry for justice resonated across the Islamic world, galvanizing widespread support. The defining blow came at the Battle of the Zab in 750 AD, a climactic confrontation that sealed the Umayyad dynasty's fate. The Abbasids, led by the astute and charismatic Abu al-Abbas as-Saffah, orchestrated a decisive victory, toppling the Umayyad Caliphate's authority and asserting their own. In the chaotic aftermath, the Umayyad family found themselves the targets of a ruthless Abbasid purge. Many were mercilessly hunted down and eliminated, a brutal campaign to eradicate the Umayyad influence and legacy. The once powerful family was reduced to remnants, their glory and power seemingly erased by the sands of time. Among the few who miraculously escaped this fate was Abd al-Rahman. He evaded capture, fleeing for his life. His journey from the ruins of his ancestral empire to the unknown challenges ahead marked the beginning of an extraordinary saga of resilience, survival, and an unwavering will to reclaim his destiny. The fall of the Umayyad state, a turning point in Islamic history, set the stage for the emergence of a new power and the rekindling of the Umayyad legacy in a distant land, far from the heart of the Caliphate. Abd al-Rahman's escape was not just a flight for survival. It was the first step towards an extraordinary resurgence. In the shadow of the Abbasid uprising, Abd al-Rahman ibn Muawiyah found himself a fugitive, a marked man in the remnants of his once glorious Umayyad family. With the Abbasids relentless in their purge, survival became his foremost priority. His journey, fraught with peril, would test his mettle and shape the leader he was destined to become. The escape from the Abbasid clutches was a feat of cunning and resilience. Abd al-Rahman, barely escaping with his life, fled across the expanse of the Middle East. His route was one of constant evasion, as Abbasid agents were ever on his trail. The journey was harrowing, marked by close calls and narrow escapes. It was during these moments that Abd al-Rahman's character was forged in the crucible of adversity. Finding temporary solace in the lands of North Africa, Abd al-Rahman sought refuge among his maternal Berber relatives. His mother, a member of the influential Nafsa tribe, provided him with a network of allies. However, even here, he was not entirely safe. The Abbasid reach was long, and their spies were pervasive. Abd al-Rahman's stay in North Africa was a delicate balance between seeking aid and avoiding attention. It was in this period of exile that Abd al-Rahman's vision for a new beginning started to take shape. He heard tales of Al-Andalus, a land ripe with potential and fractured by internal strife. In Al-Andalus, he saw an opportunity, not just for asylum, but for the establishment of a new Umayyad stronghold, a realm where he could revive his family's legacy. The decision to leave for Al-Andalus was not taken lightly. It meant venturing into unknown territory where his name and heritage might not hold sway. But Abd al-Rahman was determined. He gathered a small band of loyal followers, those who believed in his cause and were willing to risk it all on a perilous journey across the Mediterranean. Their departure was shrouded in secrecy, for the seas were no safer than the lands they fled. The voyage to Al-Andalus was a testament to Abd al-Rahman's resolve and his ability to inspire loyalty in those around him. The sea, vast and unpredictable, was a final barrier to their destination, a challenge they met with unyielding determination. As they landed on the shores of Al-Andalus, Abd al-Rahman and his followers were not just survivors of a ruthless political purge. They were the bearers of a legacy, a hope for the rebirth of the Umayyad lineage in a new land. This marked the beginning of Abd al-Rahman's ascent from a fugitive to a sovereign, a journey that would forever change the course of Andalusian history. In the year 755 AD, a figure of noble lineage, Abd al-Rahman ibn Muawiyah, arrives on the shores of Al-Andalus. This moment is not just an arrival, it's a strategic insertion into a land ripe for change, a land that would soon become the cornerstone of his legacy. Abd al-Rahman, known for his Umayyad heritage, steps into Al-Andalus with caution and wisdom. He carries the weight of his family's downfall, a stark reminder of the Abbasids' relentless pursuit. However, this is not a tale of a weary fugitive seeking mere refuge. It is the beginning of a calculated quest for power, a journey to reclaim the glory lost in the East. Upon his arrival, Abd al-Rahman is met with a complex political landscape. Al-Andalus is a melting pot of cultures and factions, with Berbers, Arabs, and the indigenous Iberians coexisting under fractured Islamic rule. Yusuf ibn Abd al-Rahman al-Fihri, the local ruler, holds a tenuous grip over the region. This provides Abd al-Rahman with an opportunity, a fissure in the existing power structure that he can exploit. To navigate this landscape, Abd al-Rahman leans on his remarkable ability to form alliances. He reaches out to the local tribes, many of whom are disillusioned with Yusuf's rule. His Umayyad heritage, a symbol of Islamic authority and past glory, serves as a rallying point. He skillfully cultivates loyalty and support, not through brute force, but through the promise of a united and prosperous Al-Andalus under the Umayyad banner. However, Abd al-Rahman's entry is not without challenges. He faces suspicion and resistance, not just from Yusuf, but also from those wary of another Umayyad ruler. Abd al-Rahman, aware of these challenges, moves discreetly yet decisively. He engages in diplomacy as much as in preparation for conflict, knowing that the path to power in Al-Andalus would inevitably lead through battles both of wits and swords. As days turn into months, Abd al-Rahman's presence in Al-Andalus grows from a mere whisper in the corridors of power to a clarion call for change. His entry into Al-Andalus marks not just the arrival of a man, but the dawn of an era that would see the rise of the Umayyad state in the West, an era that would forever change the course of Islamic history in the Iberian Peninsula. Having survived the perilous journey to Al-Andalus and garnered the support of key local tribes, Abd al-Rahman now faced his most significant challenge yet, establishing his authority in a land rife with political fragmentation and rival claims to power. The primary antagonist in this phase was Yusuf ibn Abd al-Rahman al-Fihri, the local ruler of Al-Andalus. Yusuf, sensing a threat to his dominion, initially sought to undermine Abd al-Rahman's influence, underestimating the young Umayyad's resolve and tactical acumen. Abd al-Rahman, on the other hand, was not one to be easily deterred. He recognized that his claim to power rested not only on his noble lineage, but also on his ability to demonstrate leadership and military prowess. The culmination of this power struggle came at the Battle of Al-Musara. This was not just a physical confrontation, but a symbolic contest for the future of Al-Andalus. Abd al-Rahman, with his strategic mind and charismatic leadership, rallied his forces, many of whom were drawn by his vision of a revived Umayyad presence in the region. The battle was intense, and the stakes were high. Victory would mean legitimizing his claim to rule. Defeat could spell the end of the Umayyad lineage in Al-Andalus. In a remarkable display of tactical brilliance and sheer determination, Abd al-Rahman emerged victorious. Yusuf ibn Abd al-Rahman al-Fihri, defeated and demoralized, was forced to flee. This victory was more than a military triumph. It was a decisive moment that marked the beginning of Abd al-Rahman's unchallenged rule. In the aftermath of this victory, Abd al-Rahman set about the task of consolidating his power. He took measures to suppress any remaining opposition, ensuring that no other claimants could rise to challenge his authority. He established a governance structure that leveraged his Umayyad heritage, while being sensitive to the unique cultural and political landscape of Al-Andalus. His rule was characterized by both firmness and wisdom. traits that endeared him to his subjects and stabilized his reign. With his victory at the Battle of Al-Musara, Abd al-Rahman ibn Muawiyah firmly established his foothold in Andalusia. He had triumphed over Yusuf ibn Abd al-Rahman al-Fihri, signaling the dawn of a new era. Now, the task ahead was monumental: the establishment of the Umayyad state in a land fragmented by tribal disputes and lacking centralized governance. Abd al-Rahman swiftly moved to consolidate his power. He adopted a dual strategy, forging alliances and demonstrating uncompromising strength against opposition. His leadership style was characterized by a blend of political astuteness and military might, traits honed during his years of adversity and exile. One of his first moves was to establish Cordoba as the capital of his new domain. Cordoba, strategically positioned and rich in resources, offered an ideal center from which to govern. Abd al-Rahman undertook significant construction projects, laying down the foundations of what would become one of the most sophisticated cities of the medieval world. To strengthen his rule, Abd al-Rahman focused on building a loyal army. He recruited soldiers from various backgrounds, including Berbers, Arabs, and even those who had formerly opposed him. This diverse force became the backbone of his military might, essential in suppressing revolts and defending the Umayyad state against external threats. Governance was another key area of focus. Abd al-Rahman implemented an efficient administrative system, drawing on the Umayyad heritage of statecraft. He appointed governors to different regions, ensuring that his policies were carried out across Andalusia. Taxes were regulated, providing the state with necessary funds while ensuring the economic well-being of his subjects. Culturally, Abd al-Rahman fostered an environment of religious tolerance and intellectual pursuit. While firmly grounded in Islamic principles, he allowed Christians and Jews to practice their religions, contributing to a climate of relative social harmony. Abd al-Rahman ibn Muawiyah's reign in Andalusia was not only a time of political consolidation, but also an era marked by a remarkable cultural and educational renaissance. Under his visionary leadership, Andalusia blossomed into a center of intellectual and cultural activity, rivaling the great cities of the Islamic world. One of Abd al-Rahman's most significant contributions was his focus on architectural development, with the construction of the Great Mosque of Cordoba standing as a testament to his commitment to Islamic art and architecture. This architectural marvel, renowned for its intricate design and ornate decoration, became a symbol of the Islamic Golden Age in Andalusia. Its majestic arches and spacious courtyard not only served as a place of worship, but also as a center for community gathering and learning. Beyond architecture, Abd al-Rahman heavily invested in the educational landscape of Andalusia. He established schools and libraries, making Andalusia a hub for scholars from across the Islamic world. These institutions were not just centers for religious studies, but also for the sciences, mathematics, and the arts. This emphasis on a well-rounded education helped cultivate a generation of scholars, poets, and scientists who would leave a lasting impact on the Islamic and Western worlds. Moreover, Abd al-Rahman's court became a melting pot of cultural exchange. Poets, musicians, and artists were drawn to Andalusia, attracted by the patronage and the vibrant intellectual atmosphere. This period saw the flourishing of Arabic poetry and music, with the court of Abd al-Rahman being the epicenter of these artistic endeavors. The fusion of diverse cultural influences, including those from the native Iberian population, created a unique Andalusian culture that was distinct yet deeply rooted in its Islamic heritage. The death of Abd al-Rahman ibn Muawiyah marked the end of an era in Islamic history. His 30-year reign over Andalusia transformed it from a region of turmoil into a beacon of Islamic civilization. Abd al-Rahman's demise, while a significant loss, did not erase the profound impact he had made. Under his leadership, Andalusia witnessed unparalleled growth in various fields, including architecture, culture, and education. The construction of the Great Mosque of Cordoba, an architectural marvel, stands as a testament to his vision and commitment to Islamic art and culture. This mosque, with its intricate designs and innovative use of space, remains one of the most significant monuments in Islamic architecture. His emphasis on education and intellectual growth led to a renaissance in Andalusia. Scholars and poets thrived under his patronage, enriching the Islamic world with their works. This period saw a surge in scientific and philosophical inquiry, laying the groundwork for future generations of scholars. Abd al-Rahman's governance model was another of his enduring legacies. His ability to suppress revolts and establish a stable administration set a precedent for effective governance in Islamic states. His diplomatic acumen in dealing with internal factions and external threats ensured the longevity of the Umayyad dynasty in Andalusia, a significant achievement considering the turbulent times. As news of his death spread, a wave of mourning engulfed Andalusia. Abd al-Rahman was remembered not just as a ruler, but as a mujahid who had fought valiantly for the survival of his dynasty and the prosperity of his people. His legacy was carried on by his descendants, who continued to rule Andalusia for centuries, always looking back at his reign as the golden era of their dynasty.